Hello and welcome back to Around the Garage Gaming with Sandbags. If you've been enjoying our Baldur's Gate 3 playthrough so far, make sure to leave a like and a subscribe, a comment as well. So I did want to do something a little bit different today. I finally got to play the Baldur's Gate multiplayer with my brother a couple nights ago. It was a lot of fun. I think they did a great job with it. I do play a little bit of D&D. I just started last year, and from my experience with the online gameplay or the cooperative gameplay, Larian's really gone out of their way to add a lot of similarities and to really make it feel like that D&D experience within this this video game, this role-playing video game, Baldur's Gate. So it's no surprise they've done such a good job with the game. It's been amazing. It's been great. But while playing with my brother, he's a pretty big-time gamer. He's a huge fan of WoW. He's been playing the heck out of WoW for a lot of years now. But he's never been like a big Baldur's Gate or Dungeons and Dragons player. So he got on here, wanted to try it out with me. And it quickly came to my attention that he just didn't know a whole lot about Dungeons and Dragons or Baldur's Gate. Didn't know a lot about character creation, the rolling system, modifiers, a lot of these things, and how to get the most out of your character, or create the character you want. So I thought what I'd do is I just make a little character building guide, something like that, something to help with character customization and character creation. So with that said, I think we should go ahead and get into just a few things that I wanted to talk about on here, things that might help you out along the journey. I've been playing Baldur's Gate it's been over 20 years now, but by no means am I an authority on Baldur's Gate. I still have things that I'm learning all the time. For me, the role-playing aspect of the game, I love it. But there's a lot I could do to probably increase the level of my gameplay overall. If you've been watching my videos, I'm sure you've seen me struggle through some battles and things like that. But we always tend to get there in the end, so that's good, and folks get out alive. My character, his name is Dalinar. That's the character I created. And it's one of my favorite character creations. I never really knew a name for it, I guess, until I started watching some other YouTubers, specifically Wolfheart FPS. Really put the name to it for me, and maybe I've just been missing that over the years, but I've created what's called a Ranger Knight. So I really enjoy playing the Ranger class. They have a really neat subclass that unlocks at level 3 called the Hunter. So instead of getting like an animal companion with your Ranger, I would get what's called the Hunter, and I would get to pick an ability that comes with that, which for me is always Colossus Slayer. So right now in my playthrough, I really want to get to level 3. I'm nearly there. And my goal to get there is so I can get that Colossus Slayer ability, which if you're attacking an enemy that's already had some damage done to them, you do an extra 1d8 damage per turn, which is 1 dice roll with 8 sides, just some solid extra damage right there. And the reason my character dual wields, I always go with the dual wield there, is that if I hit them with the first hit, that deals, I believe my weapons are 1d6 damage. And then if that hits and damages them, my second hit will not only get the damage from the second sword I'm carrying, so another 1d6, but it'll also get the added bonus of the Colossus Slayer's 1d8. So that's a ton of damage that Dalinar will be able to deal out just in one turn. And I can attack enemies that aren't yet damaged with my 2 attacks and still get the Colossus Slayer bonus. So there's a lot there. Like, that was my character build. With Dalinar, I wanted strength, was very important. and also Constitution. And my third most important was going to be my casting ability. So I needed Strength and Constitution to be as high as I could get them. Then I wanted my casting ability, which we'll take a look at. Race, we'll just kind of work our way down the line here. So we're going to do a custom character. And you have elves, tieflings, drow, human, githyanki, dwarf, half-elf, halfling, gnome, dragonborn, and half-orc. So quite a few options here. And each option is going to come with different racial features. So depending on how you want to play, you can choose these different racial features. So at the end of the day, Dungeons & Dragons the game and Baldur's Gate, it's all about roleplay. Enjoying the world. Adventuring in the world. You know, really doing what you can to create your own story. So before we really get going here, I just want to say, when it comes to character creation in the game, make what makes you happy. Have fun. You don't have to follow a guide. You don't have to do anything specific if you don't want to. You don't have to make it harder than it has to be. Build what you like and have fun with the game. But if you are looking for more specifics, or if you want to still have fun with the game, but, you know, also kind of follow some different rule sets and things like that, or get the most out of your character, that's what I'm here to help you out with a little bit, all right? So you do get your racial features. Each one comes with, you know, different things here. Tieflings have their racial features, hellish resistance. In my game with my brother, another character build that I really like is a tiefling warlock, so that's what I went with. And what is it, the Pact of the Fiend, I believe. I'm not sure if it's said like that in the BG3, but I do know in D&D it's the Pact of the Fiend or something like that. Really, it creates an awesome warlock character. But, you know, you can go with the drow, Fey ancestry. I went with a half-elf for Dalinar. There's a few things there. I wanted a very strong character that can take a lot of damage and also do a lot of damage. Half-elf's pretty solid for that. Maybe not the best. Honestly, a dwarf is pretty solid for that as well, but I wanted the half-elf, so I get a few things with that. The Fey ancestry, which gives me advantage on saving throws against being charmed, and magic can't put me to sleep. So that's helpful. I also get the dark vision, which is very helpful throughout the game. It just basically lights up the dark places. Nowhere's really dark for Dalinar. So, you know, go with whatever you want here. Just pay attention to these racial features and what's going to help you out the most for the character you want to create. Dragonborn's always pretty awesome. Dragonborn's actually not a bad option at all for the Ranger Knight either. Very strong class, as you can see right here, starting off with a strength of 17. So, yeah, so go with whatever you want here, of course, but if you're looking for a specific build, pay attention to your racial features. Let's go with, let's see. We'll just get ourselves a gnome, and you will also have a subrace option. So the subrace comes with added features. It can definitely add to the role playing of the game as well, but you've got, you know, all kinds of three different gnome options, but just so many sub races in this game in general. Even here in that half-elf, you've got high half-elf, wood half-elf, and drow half-elf. So basically, what I'll do is I'll actually just go with the half-elf here. So we'll kind of do like a similar to Dalinar build. And I'll show you what was going through my head during that. So, high half-elf, I got the Firebolt cantrip. That's not too important for a character build like Dalinar, but it's a good thing to know, paying attention to those sub-race features. You get Fleet of Foot with the wood, and Drow has the Dancing Lights, which illuminate a 9 meter radius. So, yeah, definitely pay attention to these, what you get with your sub-race. Those can be very helpful in just future. Like, it's nice for Dalinar to have the ability to fire a firebolt if needed. If there was ever a time when we needed to light up something on fire and nobody else can make it happen, Dalinar still can, which is great. All right. So, next up, we're going to go with cantrips. Now, there's a difference between cantrips and spells. Spells require spell slots, and that is a limited resource. You have to recover your spell slots during long rests. So Dalinar is a Ranger Knight. He only has 2 spell slots. So during a day, or until a long rest, Dalinar can only cast up to 2 spells a day. Once those are cast, that's done. No more spells for Dalinar. So cantrips are a way to kind of make it so that a spell caster, like a wizard or maybe a druid or a warlock's a great one to go with, has other spells that they can cast that aren't a limited resource. So a cantrip can be cast all day. I guess we don't have to go with anything specific here, but a cantrip can be cast pretty much all day long. You can keep casting it, but cantrips tend to be a little bit weaker than an actual spell that costs a spell slot. They generally don't do as much damage. So that's something to keep in mind, but it doesn't mean that they're bad. So let's say if we go with, look at the Tiefling Warlock. Here we could go with the Asmodeus Tiefling. Mephistopheles and Zariel. So let's just go with the Asmodeus Tiefling, take a look into this. That comes, of course, with a cantrip, Produce Flame. A flame in your hand sheds a light in a 9-meter radius and deals 1d8 fire damage when thrown. We'll go with Warlock, so we can just kind of take a look at what I'm talking about with cantrips versus spells. So if you're building a Warlock, obviously follow your heart on the character build, but I'm going to highly suggest we always get Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast, it's not like a high damage spell. It does a decent amount of damage, but it's not like an insanely powerful spell. It's a cantrip, right? So as I was saying, cantrips aren't generally as powerful as spells. But as you level up your Warlock, you can add certain things to the Eldritch Blast. So you can add multiple energy rays with it. You start off with one single Eldritch Blast at 1d10. You end up adding more damage to it as you level up. You can end up adding more rays to it as you level up. It's what you select and what you go with there. Subclass, the Fiend. So that's the Fiend, the one that I generally like to go with. And then you get spells. So here's what I mean by they're more powerful. So Eldritch Blast is 1d10 or 1d10 force, or we can look at Bone Chill, 1d8 necrotic. Then we go down to spells, and we have 1d12 lightning, or Burning Hands, 3d6 fire. So we're already seeing that these spells are more powerful. They're going to do a lot more damage, but a Warlock can only cast 2 spells a day as well. So you're mainly going to be using your cantrips. So you want to make sure you're using those spells at the right times in gameplay. Now, we're just going to follow this here. So it's important to keep in mind, what cantrips you're going for, what spells. You also have, with spells and casting, you're also going to have a casting ability. Each different class has a specific casting ability. So we'll take a quick look at some of the classes. I believe Bard cast using Charisma. So you'll want a decent Charisma for a better casting, more effective spells. Paladin, I believe, cast using Charisma. A Warlock cast using Charisma. A Sorcerer cast using Charisma. But then you have the Wizard who cast using Intelligence. Or the Druid who cast using Wisdom. So it's important to keep that in mind when you're building a character, especially if you plan on using some casting. What is your casting ability? So a Ranger cast using Charisma. So it's important that a Ranger have a decent amount of Charisma so that when Dalinar does choose to cast a spell, it's pretty effective. Alright, so let's see what we have next. Okay, so here we have the backgrounds. This is something that does come from D&D itself, is having a background, and you can get added skills plus modifiers with specific backgrounds. I would suggest, if you're trying to get a perfect character build here, definitely pay attention to what skills you're getting from that. What plus ones or plus fours or any of that are you getting? For me, with Dalinar, I believe we went with the Guild Artisan. I like the idea of having some decent insight, plus 4 to reading people and situations. I can detect lies. I also really like the plus 2 to my persuasion, so that's great. I also get plus whatever my charisma is to persuasion, so that really increases, how persuasive Dalinar can be. So there's different ways you can go about different situations, and if you have, your plus modifiers in the right places here, that's going to help you out. Soldier, you get some intimidation. You also get some athletics. Helps you shove and resist being shoved, things like that. So important to keep in mind. Next up, we have the ability points. So ability points are, this is very important to character creation. This is actually what made me think, oh, I should probably do a character creation video, because I couldn't really see my brother's screen or anything like that, but when we got into it, I'd created a Warlock, and he had created a Paladin, and we started out at the exact same health. And I thought that was weird. That doesn't make any sense to me. I asked him, what did you set your constitution to? And he said, I just went with use recommended. It took me a few to really get my head around that, because this is one of the most exciting things to me about Baldur's Gate. D&D, all of it. I love the just setting my ability points. I don't know what it is about the screen and the clicking and all that, but it's a lot of fun. So let's stick with what we have, and we'll just look at our abilities. So with a Ranger, let's say we're trying to do another Dalinar build, where we want Dalinar to be up in it. We want him to be able to take damage and do damage. It's saying dexterity is the most important to my class, right? That's why the star's here. That's what that's saying. My primary ability for my class is dexterity. But Dalinar doesn't need dexterity. That's not important to him. We don't want to be like a negative on dexterity, but it's not the most important thing to our character. We want constitution, and we want strength. So you get these bonuses. You want to make sure you're assigning those bonuses to the proper ones. And then what I would do is, I have 9 ability points now. Let me get that back to 10. I'm going to do what I can to get this to 16 and hit that. And now I'm at 16 on both of these. We also know that the Ranger's casting ability is charisma. So for me, these two are very important. Strength, constitution. I want them as high as I can get them. But now my third should be charisma. We want to get that up. I would suggest getting it up to around 14. Now, there's a reason for this. In setting your ability points, you don't really want to go with odd numbers unless your plan in the future is to continue adding ability points. What I mean by this is every 4 levels, you get a choice. You can add 2 ability points where you'd like, or you can pick a feat. Some folks just like to go with the ability point adds. Me, there are so many awesome feats out there that I usually end up taking a feat. There's a feat that will come available for Dalinar at level 4 that I'm very excited about. It's a dual wielding feat, and basically what it does is when Dalinar's dual wielding, he gets a +1 AC modifier, like a +1 to AC. So if Dalinar's AC is at 16, because I took that feat and I'm dual wielding, my AC would then be at 17. So that's my armor class. So that's an amazing feat. To me personally, I don't think that adding 2 extra ability points really would beat that out in the end. And every 4 points that choice comes available. And what you'll find is there are quite a few awesome feats available to take that can really, really increase your character and what they can do. Another thing to keep in mind, why we want to go with the even numbers here and not really odd numbers. So kind of where this started. Every 2 points over 10 is a plus modifier. So right now, the strength that I have set is +3 to strength checks, or a +3 modifier. So anytime the dice roll or something has to happen where I need to meet a certain level of strength. So let's say I need 10 strength and I roll an 8. I am under that 10 strength, but my +3 to strength checks, or my +3 modifier, is going to put me over that 10. But if you have it at 17, that's not going to add anything. It's not going to make it a +4 or anything like that. It's just going to stay at a +3. So in a way, you're kind of wasting a point to not go with evens. Unless in your future, in the future, you're not planning on taking feats, you're planning on taking ability points, then okay. If you end up with 18 strength, that's a +4. 20, +5. So you can absolutely do that if that's the road you want to go down, of course. And of course, it's all about your playthrough. So my charisma has a +2 modifier because I've got a 14. That's 4 over 10. Every 2 we get a +1. Wisdom has no plus. Intelligence actually has a -1 because it's below 10. So the further you go below that 10, every 2 is going to be another negative. So if I went to intelligence 6, we'd be looking at a -2 to intelligence checks. So keep that in mind. This right here is, for me, a really good layout of points for a character like Dalinar. If spellcasting isn't something you want to really be worried about at all, you could try to add a little bit here or there, but I think 16, 16 for my first 2 most important, and then 14 on charisma. Then you have your other, classes. So like a warlock is something else that I'll often go with. With a warlock, I don't really need strength. It's not important. I'm not doing a lot that has to do with strength. What I need is charisma. So we've already got a +2 at charisma. I want to set my other bonus, maybe constitution. I like to, when I do a warlock build, I generally like to have very high charisma and constitution. That's just because of my playstyle, though. Wisdom, intelligence, those things, I like to not have. I don't need to have any negative modifiers with this character build. But in general, I don't play a lot of spellcasters. I'm started playing some warlocks. It's a lot of fun. but I always want to have as high of a health as I can get, because I don't want to be dying. I want to stay in the fight. That's my preference. If you want to do something different, add to where you want to add. That's up to you, of course. So that's important to keep in mind. Stay even here, especially if you're planning on taking feats in the future every 4 levels. I think those are the main things about character building here that I have. As I said earlier, just keep in mind, build what you want, build what you like, build what makes you happy. At the end of the day, it's a game and it's meant to bring you joy. So you don't have to make it any kind of focus of yours to, only play how all the guides and everything else says. It's all about fun. It's about role playing and just having a good time. So, pay attention to this. Take what you can from it, of course. If you enjoy it, that's great. If it's something you choose to build off of and go with, awesome. But just keep in mind, have fun. Don't let the character creation stress you out. Don't let it overwhelm you. It's a lot of information, I know. But if you just start one at a time, what do I like? What do I want to be? Drow are neat. I've heard of Drizzt, right? So maybe I want to be a drow or a halfling. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan, so let me build my own Samwise Gamgee. Just follow your heart, go with what you want to play, and then once you do that, that will kind of guide you as well. I mean, you could make any kind of halfling or gnome, but generally halflings are really solid. I would say really solid bards and really solid rogues. But you could make a halfling barbarian or warrior, and they'll be, as effective as you can get them. So, follow your heart. Have fun with the game. I hope this information helps you out. I am thinking about maybe doing some more guides. Like I said, I by no means am an authority on Baldur's Gate. I don't pretend to be the best at it. I even stated I have always kind of sucked at the game, but over the years I have learned quite a bit that's helped me at least survive in the game. So there's my character creation guide. Thanks for joining Around the Garage once again. We'll have some more Baldur's Gate playthroughs soon. We also have a group video going Around the Garage. There's actually 3 of us that game and edit and everything. We'll have our first episode of Grounded will be releasing here very soon. It's going to be all 3 of us. Our gamer editor, Steve-O, has been hard at work on it. Definitely a lot more goes into a video with 3 of us playing, recording, and everything at the same time than the playthroughs that I make. But pay attention to that. You'll also be seeing some of our podcast episodes where we do have our podcast Around the Garage on Spotify, but we're converting them over to YouTube as well. So we'll continue doing that as we could record more podcasts in the future. Our first episode is actually just Steve-O and I, and it's all about gaming. We're talking about our 5 favorite video games, and if you've been a fan of Baldur's Gate, I really think you're going to love my number 1. It's a lot of fun. We have a good time. We also do drink reviews. Every episode we have a new drink that we're drinking, and we give it a review as well. So pay attention to those. Watch out for them. I hope you've enjoyed the character creation guide. If you're enjoying what you're seeing on Around the Garage so far, please make sure to give us a like and subscribe. All right, until next time.